You asked for it, and here it is, 6F, doing the practice problems. I'm going to go through each time. I'm going to use the tic-tac-toe grid here sort of to set up and organize my information. So let's look at number 7. We have the 30-degree angle right here, 60, and then this is across from the 90. So we know that it is going to be S, H, and L for short, hypotenuse, and long. Their ratios are 1, 2, square root of 3. The short side we don't know, the hypotenuse we don't know, and the long side is 6 times the square root of 3. So we just set up proportions. 1 over x equals the square root of 3 over 6 times the square root of 3. When I cross multiply, or some of you can even see that these right here divide out to 1. So we have 1 over 6 equals 1 over x, and now I know that the short side is 6. And the hypotenuse is always double the short side, so that's 12. So that's it for that one. I'm going to reuse the grid each time to save ink. Some of you are laughing. Some of you aren't. Alright, so for this one, the hypotenuse we don't know, the short side we don't know again, and the long side is 6. So let's make those x and y. So we'll say 1 over y equals the square root of 3 over 6. We cross multiply here, and we get y times the square root of 3 equals 6. Divide both sides by square root of 3, and we get y equals 6 over the square root of 3. So here we have to rationalize the denominator. We do that by multiplying the top and bottom by the square root of 3. And then we're left with 6 square roots of 3 over 3, and 6 over 3 reduces to 2. So the short side, this side right here, is 2 times the square root of 3, and the hypotenuse is always double that, so this is 4 times the square root of 3. Let's take a look at another one. Number 9, it doesn't have any angle measures on it. What it does have is angles marked congruent. Once they're marked congruent, I know that if this is equal to this, then it's isosceles. So now I know it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So this is leg, hypotenuse, 1, 1, square root of 2. The hypotenuse we don't know. We know that if this leg is square root of 6, then this leg is square root of 6. So that's easy. And then we'll set this up as 1 over the square root of 6 equals the square root of 2 over x. And x equals the square root of 12. Now you need to be careful anytime you have a radical if you can simplify it. Here 4 is a perfect square that goes into 12. The square root of 4 is 2. So this is 2 square roots of 3. If you need help with simplifying radicals or rationalizing the denominator or anything like that, you need to see me in Flex or after school so we can get you straightened out on that. Let's take a look at number 10. Number 10 is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. SHL 1, 2, square root of 3. That's going to bother me. So let's see, the short side is square root of 3. Let's move this over a little bit, give us some room to work. The short side is square roots of 3. So we know that the hypotenuse right away is double that. So, you know, these are x and y, but 2 times the square root of 3 is just that. It's 2 times the square root of 3. And then for the long side, we have 1 over the square root of 3 equals the square root of 3 over y. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. So that's it. Easy enough. Let's take a look at number 11. Number 11 again is marked isosceles. So if it's marked isosceles, then I know it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. This is leg, hypotenuse, 1, 1, square root of 2. The hypotenuse is 8, so we're looking for whatever the leg is. That's 1 over x equals the square root of 2 over 8. We get 8 equals x times the square root of 2. X equals 8 over the square root of 2. When we rationalize the denominator, we get x equals 8 times the square root of 2 over 2, which simplifies to 4 times the square root of 2 for each one of the legs. They're congruent, so they're the same thing. I know there wasn't a lot of room here for you guys to do your work, but hopefully you have scratch paper or your, I don't know what you're doing without that, because it probably looks like a jumbled mess. Let's see. This is a 30, 60, 90. The hypotenuse is 10. I know right away that the short side is half of that, so that's 5. And then 1 over 5 equals the square root of 3 over y, cross multiply, and this side over here is 5 times the square root of 3. That is a god-awful looking 3. And there you go. And that's it. Do a few more, make sure everybody's on the same page still. Figuratively and literally. Alright, so number 13 is another 30, 60, 90. So SH and L, 1, 2, square root of 3. The short side we don't know, the hypotenuse we don't know, and the long side is 4. So let's see, 1 over x equals, I'm going to solve for the short side, by the way, every time first, because the hypotenuse is double that. So if I just solve for the short side, then I can just double it to get the long side. It just saves me some work. Cross multiply, and I get 4 equals x times the square root of 3. Divide both sides by square root of 3, and I get 4 over the square root of 3. Rationalize the denominator, and I get x equals 4 times the square root of 3 over 3. And is that ugly? Yes. Is it the correct answer? Also yes. So it's the new year. Let's not judge things by how they look. New year, new you. Hypotenuse, double that, and to double that, this is multiplying a fraction. This is just like 2 times 4 thirds, okay, which is 8 thirds. We just have the radical there also. For some of you, that may have blown your mind. And if that's the case, flex or after school to work on some of that stuff so we can make sure we know what we're doing with radicals and fractions and everything else you can think of. Not everything really, because that would be ridiculous. Okay, number 14 is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So this is leg, hypotenuse, blah, 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 blah. Hypotenuse is square root of 6. These are the same, so 1 over x equals the square root of 2 over the square root of 6. We get x times the square root of 2 equals the square root of 6. We divide both sides by square root of 2, and we get square root of 3. So this missing side here is that. Make sure I put the answer in both blanks so I get full credit from my teacher. Alright, number 15. The long side, 30, 60, 90. The long side is 9. Short side and hypotenuse we don't know, so 1 over x equals square root of 3 over 9. X times the square root of 3 equals 9. X equals 9 over the square root of 3. We rationalize, and we get x equals 9 times the square root of 3 over 3, which simplifies to 3 times the square root of 3, and then double that is 6 times the square root of 3. I'm going to leave you the last 3 to try on your own, because teach a man to fish, and he eats for a day. Teach a man how to catch a fish and fry it, and he can work at Long John Silver's. It's a famous saying. If you don't know, you should look that up and ask your English teacher about it. 16, 17, and 18, you're on your own. Have a blast.